Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Button Mash, episode whatever's in the title. My name is Arif, and today I am joined by Chris Archer from HoloSpark, the creators of Earthfall. And it is a early access title on Steam, first-person shooter based, and very much in the vein of Left 4 Dead 2. Is about the comparison we see being made on the around the net of it's like that horde based team co-op shooter kind of game. Correct?
It's very fair. That's a very fair comparison. And actually, a lot of people think of that as a negative, but we love those games, and so we were heavily inspired by Left 4 Dead and those other games. So yeah, we definitely follow that. That was a good description. I couldn't have done it better myself. That was Left 4 Dead style co-op PVE game, and with aliens in the Pacific Northwest,
Right.
and some other key features which are often sort of pushed to the side. Objective-based gameplay, a lot more story involvement with the characters and build of the story. Printers where you print your weapons and things like that. You probably got to play a little bit with those.
Yes.
The idea of buildables and defenses. So turrets, rebuildable turrets, and you can place them anywhere where you want. Fences as well. And so those are pretty exciting differences between us and the other games in this category.
Oh, absolutely. Like you took you have the premise, like the overall the shell is that style, but you have made the inner guts completely your own. In this
Yep,
respect.
definitely. Yeah, and I mean, if you ask the players, and I think you even got this response too when you played, intense, right? Really, immediately scary and intense and relentless. And we really were trying to do something where it really stood apart. It's less guys standing around and taking pot shots at them, and more like what's behind me.
Yes.
So that's really what we're trying to bring to the table.
Yes, the style of gameplay that you need, the way you need to play this game when you're with a group of people is you need to work in that like formation that you think something's going to drop in or around you. So you just create like a little circle and everybody's watching every angle just to make sure nothing's coming, because when I played at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was terrified when a pack of even low-level aliens just showed up behind me.
They can be very scary in a group, right? And that's and in a dark space as well. It's really interesting. But some of the things we do still really focus on, like the other co-op PvE games, is staying together, right? Working as a team. And you mentioned a little bit about that, like you want somebody to be covering your back so you don't get surprised by a mob of aliens behind you, and so it's really important in our game, more than maybe any of the others, to stick together.
Right. Now, at HoloSpark, your specific job is, you were telling me this last night, you were lead weapons designer?
Yeah, well, I'm the executive producer of the project, so that's kind of like
My
the
apologies.
manager. No, the manager, well, we wear a lot of hats, right?
Right.
We're an indie developer, and so on each project, I've always kind of had a different job besides my management job, and on this one, I'm the weapons and combat designer as well. So I get to create all the guns, and I get to work with great AI programmers and artists and designers on the creatures we do and how they work and all of those things. So it's a really exciting part of my job.
Nice. So, what made you guys want to go this route? With you're essentially reviving the co-op swarm shooter kind of genre, because we've seen that genre take a very much a sidetrack to the, I guess what could be dubbed as the perpetual cycle of survival horror early access early access purgatory that we've seen in recent game development.
Sure. Well, I mean, first and foremost, we love those games too, and we're big fans of PvP and survival games and things like that. But really, we're an indie developer, and we set out to make things that we like to play, right? And things that we thought we loved to play before that aren't out there, in force like they used to be. And so, games like cooperative PvE games, you just don't see a lot. It's really, frankly, from my perspective, I mean, I'm tired of being ranked number 2,150,000, and I'm a really good shooter player.
Right.
I'd like to just play with my friends sometimes and just not have to worry about head-to-head combat. And so fighting against the AIs with three of my friends or three new friends was really exciting territory for us, and that's why we decided to go down that route. And we're also huge fans of Left 4 Dead and the other games in this category, and we hadn't seen anything new for a while, and that's why we jumped on that.
Yeah, and when I was chatting with some of my friends about the game, because I was telling them, like, I need you guys to go pick this game up, because we play Left 4 Dead literally every single day. It's because it's the only game my friend's wife will play, so we all revolve around that. And I was saying, I'm like, okay, new game I just heard of called Earthfall. You guys need to pick it up so we can play something different. Like they have so many hours logged in Left 4 Dead that it's not measured in like time as much as working years, like
as life percentage.
Yeah, as life percentage. Like one of them has, I think, almost 4,000 or 5,000 hours logged in Left 4 Dead 2. I'm like, we need a new game. So I think you guys have done just a fantastic job with this. And I was telling you this last night that my friend got the flamethrower and just fell in love with that weapon.
We have some big problems with players in our office with the flamethrower. I was joking with you about this, and make sure that they stay in front of you.
Yeah,
right.
Like you can't be trusted.
Shot in the back by a giant ball of flame is not fun. But man, when you unleash that flamethrower, it's amazing. So that's a cool thing about this. You mentioned this game. We're not trying to replace these other games.
Right.
Right. We're just trying to live alongside them, and we hope that people have fun with it, and it's just a slightly different experience than what they're used to, in those other games, and something unique and fun and different. And it sounds like you guys, your group got a little bit of that.
Oh yes, we absolutely did. And actually, one thing I want to move on to is we're talking about the flamethrower. You guys decided to include friendly fire with like actual repercussions.
We did, and to be fair, on easy, I've turned the friendly fire off. It still tells you when you're shooting your friends, right, to warn you. So in case you're training for the other levels, but on the easy level, we actually throttle it back. On normal, it's pretty light. You can take down your friend if you really make a concerted effort to kill your friends. You can, but once you get into hard and overwhelming, it can be punishing if you're not playing strategically. And so the reason we did that was because, again, as a differentiator, a lot of games you're just firing willy-nilly and you're not really being as strategic as you should be, right? Just firing into a crowd. We wanted you to use crouch a little bit. We wanted you to, side strafe a little bit and move around your friends. And what happens is if you're watching people play, when friendly fire is on, you notice their tactics change dramatically, because as soon as they realize they're hurting their friends, they start to check their fire. And what happens is then they start working more as a team. Hey, let's focus our fire here. Hey, you go down that channel and cover that door, and I'll cover this door. And that's what we wanted. We didn't want just free for all. We wanted them to think a little bit more about where they were shooting before they shot.
Fair enough. And yeah. I think it's a great way that you've done that. Like how you've baby stepped it through.
Sure.
And then when you get to the harder difficulties, you just kind of ramped it up.
Yeah, it's not too. Yeah, like I said, it's not too much on normal and none on easy. But yeah, I mean, you definitely feel it later.
Right. Sorry, there was another question I had. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Within the game, because you are playing with your friends, co-op is essential. Once again, especially at those higher levels of like Swarm and whatever. Mm-hmm. But I have not seen a voice comms system in the game. Now
that's true. No, that's true. We actually don't have voice comms in the game. Something we're looking into right now, and we may have some announcements coming soon on that. We recommend to people, and we do this in the office. Get a Discord channel and chat, if you want to chat with your friends. There's always this balance between, wanting to hear people that are not your friends and wanting to have chat in the game. And so something we're working on, and I think we'll be announcing something soon on that. I can't say too much.
No, fair enough. But yeah, it was just one of those things, like the very first thing I looked at when I got into the game was, I'm like, okay, who do I talk to and how do I talk to these people? I'm like, there's no voice comms.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
no voice.
boy.
And it is a challenge,
yeah.
We're early access and we still have, lots of things we're working on, but yeah, it can be a challenge to play cooperatively without voice chat. So we understand that.
Yeah, actually, with the game being in early access, how is that been going over for you guys? Because I know people's perceptions of early access has definitely changed in the last 4 years or 5 years that it's been around.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, we wanted to deliver early access, as much good polished content as possible versus just throwing something out into the wild. And of course, we're focused on a million things, and we're focused on listening to the community and seeing what issues they're having and actually addressing those. We've already had 2 patches since the release, 2 hot fixes, one that covered a handful of key things that people were really clamoring about. And then we just had a really quick hot fix recently that added an FOV slider bar, which is something that people were really clamoring for as well. That's the thing, is that sometimes you don't know as a developer exactly what they want in the game that you're shipping, and you just can't do everything.
Right.
And so what we try to do is what we think is right, and then we listen, and then we react. There's still a lot of people talking about optimizations and more content and things like that. We're absolutely focused on that and working on that, and we'll be announcing things coming up on advances on both of those things.
Okay, that is fantastic. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. Now, it does take a while, some of these things, and so that's the trade-off. Is the content takes a while to build, and things like optimizations, they're tricky, and so we want to make sure whatever we put out, we want to make sure is clean and runs well and continues that quality level that we shipped on our first early access release.
And that's just awesome to hear, because you hear it often, and then the landscape is littered with people who just dropped off. But
no question.
When you see something like Earthfall, you can tell you guys have already set the quality standard on release. The textures and everything to the aliens are so nicely done that it would be hard to drop that standard.
Yeah, and we have an amazingly talented crew here, and we're unlike a lot of indies in that we're a mix of hardened veterans and youthful exuberance. We have a really neat combination of people that have done a million games and a million products, and guys that are just starting out, with new techniques and new ways of thinking. And so that's the perfect combination to make a developer, in my opinion, because you get the best of both worlds. You get that experience on, hey, we actually shipped something because those guys, right? And then you've got the youth that they're saying, this isn't good enough. It needs to be better. It needs to look better, play better, and it's a great combo.
Yes, I can't agree with that even anymore. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Some of these times I get so wrapped up in.
No, it's exciting.
In all the thoughts. It's just
I'm excited to talk about it too. So
you made the game in Unreal Engine 4.
We did.
Okay, could not be happier with the fact that it's an Unreal Engine 4, because it gives you so much headroom to grow the game. But why that engine? Why not the Steam version 2 or whatever it's called, or
sure,
CryEngine 3?
Absolutely. There's lots of choices. I mean, you got Unity and you got CryEngine, you got Lumberjack, you got Unreal, you've got
Lumberjack is the Amazon one, right?
The Amazon, it's the newer one, and then you've got the Left 4 Dead Half-Life engine as well. Honestly, it's a shooter at its core, right? And we don't talk about this a lot. I'm really passionate about this because I like designing and working on shooters. I've worked on a bunch of them, and that engine has always been built to be kind of a shooter first, right? It comes from Unreal, the game. It comes from Gears of War, right? The games that they built this engine on and the success of that company on are shooters. And so it really suits that. And so you can come right out of the gate really strong, Sarif, in making like a really good quality shooter. Then you make it your own, right? The base content is already there for you to sort of wield to your, to whichever direction you want to go. And that's what we've done is we've taken, a really good quality engine that has made a lot of great shooters in it, and then made our own take on those great shooters. Much like if the Call of Duty engine were to be used for another shooter game inside of a company like Activision.
Right.
We've taken Epic's Unreal Engine that they use for action games primarily, and made a really great action game out of it.
Yes, I agree. So you have a rather extensive game development experience, Pat, correct?
Myself?
Yes.
A little bit, just a
bit?
tiny. 23 years worth.
Jesus. Just pointing out, I'm 31, so you've been almost doing this as long as I've been alive.
It's been it's quite a long run so far. Exciting though.
What major titles have you been associated with?
Well, I think most of your fans will probably not know about the ones I did early on, but I was joking about this, and that I actually worked on games that were still on 3.5-inch diskette, which they're like, what's a 3.5-inch diskette? One of the first games I worked on was called The Seventh Guest, which is a really old CD-ROM game, and then we made The 11th Hour, which was the sequel after that. But I worked on a ton of games that I think people would recognize. I worked on the Tony Hawk series. I worked on almost all the Spider-Man games. I worked on a game called True Crime Streets of LA.
Oh, I actually know that game.
Yeah. So in Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Ultimate Spider-Man, those games, I was either a producer or designer or something like that. More recently, we had a startup, and we did a game called Offensive Combat, which was pretty popular for a while. And a bunch of those guys and a bunch of guys from Flying Lab who worked on a game called Pirates of the Burning Sea. It was an MMO pirate game.
Okay.
We actually came together and started working at another company, and that's kind of how we formed HoloSpark. Those two teams, came together to actually build a game that didn't release. But then we again took that group and moved it over, and we started working on this project. So it was pretty exciting.
Right.
But yeah, tons of stuff. I mean, I like X-Men Legends. You probably know that one.
Yes.
I mentioned the Spider-Man stuff. I'm sure I'm missing some, and my friends would be like, "Why didn't you mention that game?"
You worked on so many. You're kind of like an A-list actor. You work on so many projects. You don't remember them all.
Well, I mean, I worked at Treyarch, and I worked at Luxaflux, and I worked at Activision for almost 14 years of my career.
Oh, wow.
And before that, I worked at developers, and prior to that, Playmates Interactive and Real Time Associates. I worked on Gex 2. I worked on just a bunch of stuff. But that was the stuff more recently is a little bit more spread out. I came up to Seattle to work on a game called The Agency, which didn't come out but was being made by Sony Online, and that's why I ended up in Seattle. I was in LA, Santa Monica for most of my career.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And you said you've been bringing in new developers.
Absolutely.
For HoloSpark. Are you grabbing new grads, or are you grabbing
Yeah.
What does HoloSpark consider a new developer?
It runs the gamut, right? So people just out of school,
people
still in school, hey, you sure you want to finish school? Yeah, you're really great at your job. I joke, but we do internships. And many of those internships have turned into full-time positions. Okay. We take people right out of school, and we also take people that have only worked on one or two games, which I would still consider, new in the industry.
Right.
Whereas there's guys on my team that could match me in terms of number of games, and in some cases, they've done, 5 shooters over the course of the last 15 years, and so, guys that worked on Blood and Prey and all these other games, the older ones, and then worked with me on Offensive Combat and some other things, and now are working on yet another shooter here. So we just keep getting more experience and more breadth in the things that we kind of can work on, which is really cool.
No, I think that's awesome. I always love to hear when companies are working with new people to the industry, because there's so many industries that essentially would either shut new people out or eat their own in some aspect where, it's like it prevents growth instead of fosters it.
Sure.
So
No,
it's
I mean there has to be a balance, and frankly, we're growing. This business is still growing, and so there's room for people that are coming in from the outside, and the key is finding the right people for the project that you're working on, and getting the best, most talented youngsters out there. And there, like I said, there's some of these guys blow me away, and even after 23 years, I'm still blown away, by some of some of these artists and some of these programmers and what they can do.
right. No, I think you guys have done such a great job with this. Now, I did notice though one thing. This is probably
Yeah.
going to be like the hardest question we ask all interview. The
Okay.
price of Earthfall was $32.99, at least in my Canadian wingding dollars,
Sure.
when it came out, and it dropped to $16.99, and it happened relatively quickly, within about the
Sure.
span
Yeah.
of a week of me finding out about the game to it becoming that price point. Now, why?
Yeah.
What was the cause of that, or was there a reason for it?
Well, we're definitely listening,
Okay.
right? And we heard some complaints about the price, and ultimately we're going to have, by the time we have full release of this project, we're going to have a lot more content. And so, oftentimes the pricing is set on what you are going to have instead of what you actually have that day. And so what we did is we set the price on what we had that day.
Okay.
Right, which was one campaign, and we'll eventually have a second campaign, which we talked about, putting out there, and anybody that buys the game at this price automatically gets the campaign later,
Okay.
the second campaign, and any other content that we build, which we're not announcing anything, but
Right.
I can assure you that we're always working on other interesting things to add to the game. But yeah, I mean, it was something where we were listening. People were saying this isn't like early access is to me.
Mhm.
And we're not veterans on early access, and so we listened to the community and we reacted, I think, really quickly and
Yes.
and decisively, and I feel like this is really good community relations for us. And I think getting more players in and having more people have fun, and frankly, Sarif, instead of buying one, you can buy two,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
buy one for your friend. And I think that's really motivational with our team as well. Like, we want to get as many players in there as possible because we feel like this has a long road ahead, right? We got a lot of work to do, and we'd love to get as many players in so that they can continue to enjoy the game.
Right. And with the sale of the game though, I know this is, I don't see this done very much anymore, but it used to be done in the past. There used to be 4-packs for these type of co-op games.
Sure.
Now, I'm assuming with the Steam refund changes, this is why there's no 4-pack for, because
That's true. Yeah,
okay.
we would like to have done that, but the rules changed, and they no longer do multi-pack sales,
That's really
unfortunately.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I like the idea of being able to buy 4 and then giving them to my three friends as well, but the way we priced it makes it really appealing to be able to do that anyway,
Yeah, it does.
and do it before the price goes up.
No, that's
Sorry.
totally understandable. Yeah, I was just because that was pointed out to me. It's like, there used to be 4-packs for these kind of games. I'm like, you're right, there used to be, and I wonder why there isn't. But then, yeah, it was brought up that the Steam refund policy changes. Which have you seen that become a factor for you? The refund process and all that.
Not really. I mean, we worked with Steam. When we did change it, it was pretty early. When we did change it, we worked with Steam, the guys over there, to make sure everybody got refunds and got to get their money back if they paid more. And no, I don't. I mean, I think if you in early access, if you make a great game experience, then people will like it and keep it. So
Yeah.
we haven't really noticed anything that's changed dramatically. I think that's always been the case. I think when I work on a console game and somebody buys it at the store, and they put it in and they hate it, and then they take it back, it's the same. So make great games, make fun experiences, and people will be like, I got my money's worth, I got value out of this. And you shouldn't have too many issues with returns.
Fair enough. Well, I think on that happy note, then we'll probably wrap this up for today.
Okay, man.
I know you have a mountain of work to do. Do you want to
Sure.
tell people where they can find you guys and find out more about the game?
Absolutely. If you want more information, you can go to earthfall.com about the game. We also have a YouTube channel that shows off the videos. I think you were playing it at one point on your show as well. That's really cool. I actually did a bunch of the videos early on, so I'm excited whenever I see the videos. But yeah, it's available right now, as he mentioned, on early access Steam. It's $19.99. I guess it's different for you though because you have your wingding calculation, but in the U.S. it's $19.99, and I think it's a great price. People are having a lot of fun. The community is really vibrant and excited about the game, and they're giving us tons and tons of great feedback and bugs and things like that. And we're very much focused on reacting to what people are saying right now and how people are feeling about it, making changes. We will be announcing soon content, when we'll be releasing new content and things like that moving forward. And so, come on by the forums, the HoloSpark forums. There's good conversation going on there, or chat with us on the Steam forums. That's a pretty good place to catch us as well. We have a lot of devs that comment on there. Like I said, it's really a good back and forth for us and the community.
Okay, well then there you guys go. I want to thank Chris Archer for joining me today on Button Mash. Guys, if you make sure you guys do check out Earthfall, I'll have the link in the description down below. Thank you, Chris, for joining me today.
Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the game.
Yes, we will see you soon.
Take care.
Okay, you guys have a good day. Bye.
Bye.